Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name's Ray, the Market Trader, and let's begin. Let's start off with our risk disclosure here, guys. Let's just want to remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. The use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk and is not for every investor. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is intended as a solicitation to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure here, guys, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to the financial portal. So we're going to locate our financial portal here in a moment and bring that up here in a second. Okay, let's go ahead and disable this, and we'll bring this up. See this. Hopefully that is visible to everyone. That appears to be visible. All right, so risk disclosure, financial news here. Let's see what we have on the docket. So we have I guess we have already reported ADP employment change here at 8:15 Eastern time. We have for those crude oil traders out there, we have the EIA crude oil inventory report. And then we have some minor news events also at 10:15, 10:30. President Lagarde, ECB's President Lagarde speaks at 10:15. We have Dallas Fed Energy Survey coming in at 10:30. And then we have some associated events around our president here coming in at potentially after the market, which will not have I don't expect to have much impact on the markets. However, we are coming into a granddaddy of granddaddies of news tomorrow. Okay, so we have non-farm payroll, unemployment, initial jobless claims, PMI, factory order month over month. A lot of news coming into tomorrow's what appears to be an abbreviated session, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so something to keep in mind here. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead now that we've gotten through our news here. We'll go ahead and turn our attention to the market. Okay. So we're going to disable this here for a moment and share again. This time we're going to be sharing our portal. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and start with the market that we normally start off with. Okay. Nice clean chart here. Okay. Nice clean chart of the gold. Okay. So you can see here on the, start off with the daily chart. Okay, so daily chart, we remain in this consolidation range. Okay, of late. Okay, so we've been in this consolidation range of late since mid-April, and we continue to be in that range. Now, what we are seeing, maybe the beginnings of the developments of, is some sort of ascending triangle. Okay, so if I take the highs here, okay, and draw a horizontal line like this, and then right, we are seeing something in the way of an ascending triangle. Now, the question is, when we do break, we know generally the magnitude of that, what that break is going to be. Okay. The question is, we don't know which direction. Okay. So it could either be of this magnitude to the upside, which would take us up to, let's say, 38.90 or 38.50. Okay. Somewhere in that range. Okay. Right. 38.45. Okay. Or it could lead us lower. Right. So the down here to 3,000. Okay. So right now we seem to be kind of, I guess you can, as I'm arranging, okay, consolidating here on the daily chart. Of late, okay, of late, you can see that we've been in, I guess, starting to begin to develop maybe this next leg of this triangle pattern back to the upside, which could potentially take us back up to 34.64, somewhere back to the highs here. Okay, so this would be the fourth attempt at trying to get to the highs of this market. Okay, moving down to the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove. We're going to disable our drawings here. Okay. All right. So for our chart, we again we're getting a little bit of a flavor of exactly what's taking place here of late, and you can see here that the market does appear to be in some sort of bullish swing. Okay, we've broken some structure here to the left here around what is that level? Around 33. Let's see, a little higher than that. Let's see, right about here. Okay, so 3356.50, we've broken above it, found some sellers. Now the question is, are we developing a little bit of a supply area? We're starting to see a little bit in the way of wicks here up at the upper end of this range. So I'm kind of inclined here to draw in a supply area right here. Okay. Okay, so we have not of late over the last 6 or so candles here on the 4-hour chart, we have not made a new high. Okay, so question now becomes: is this going to serve as an area where is going to serve as resistance? Okay, so we've already seen a little bit in the way of a selling wick here. Now the question becomes: is this going to continue in that direction? Okay, is this going to offer us maybe a little bit of a turn in this market? Okay. Otherwise, what we need to see is that we need to see price break through this level and close above, say, 3367.3. Okay. If it's unable to do that, then the view is that we will continue to come down and auction lower to see if we can locate some more buyers. Okay. Moving on to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, again, you can see this a little bit more clearly on the 30-minute chart. You can see that that little supply area that I had mentioned here on the 4-hour with more candles. You can see that we are seeing some rejection candles away from this area here around 3360. Okay, we have not been able to get above 3361.8 of late. Okay, so is that going to lead us to maybe a leg lower? We'll have to wait and see as the market continues here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile, get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's session here, and you can see that it appears that we opened back in value. Okay, back inside value from yesterday, which could indicate that we will see more of a range kind of price action in this market, meaning that we need to maybe wait for additional data to understand from participants actually to which direction they wish to take this market. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and open up initial balance and get a sense for where the initial balance range is, or what kind of range we're developing here. We're going to modify this from Asia and change this over to the regular session. Okay, to day session here. Okay, and here we are. So we have developing initial balance range. So you can see, right? So we are slightly lower. Okay, slightly lower. So from yesterday's range, right? So if we look at yesterday's initial balance range, where we were not able to make it. We were not able to get back inside, at least for now, back inside the initial balance range from yesterday. Okay. So and what it appears is, again, we're kind of developing a little bit of structure here, okay, indicating that we may see some additional price action to the downside. Okay. So the question now becomes, is this area here around the low end of value 3352.7, is that going to hold? If so, that would be a kind of a feather in the cap for the bulls. Okay. But then they would need to see if they can get price back above 3361.9, because we are seeing over the last few candles here that there appears to be some sellers here. Okay, up above here at 3362. So as we enter the session here, I'm going to remain patient. I'm going to wait for this initial balance range to establish, and let the initial balance range dictate which direction I'll be looking for in an opportunity. Okay, right now, if I had to choose, I would say that I would be patient and wait for maybe a break of initial balance to the upside. I am seeing a little bit of buying here up against this 3352 level that we already identified as an area of demand, and that could lead us to maybe a potential move here to the upside. But I'm going to be patient and wait for that initial balance break to take place. Okay, moving on to the crude oil market. Okay, looking at crude oil. So it looks like we've had a fair amount of bullish price action during the overnight. Let's take a look at the daily here and see what the daily is telling us. Okay, so daily chart, we're looking at this again. Really nothing too overly dramatic. It looks like we are continuing to pick up maybe some momentum here on the daily chart to the upside. We had a series of overlapping candles here on the bottom here, right? We have a series of overlapping candles here on the bottom, and at the moment we seem to be developing a bullish engulfing candle. Okay, but looking at these two series of candles here, there's still a fair amount of work that needs to happen in order for the bulls to really regain control of this market. Okay, although we are seeing some bullish price action, I would say the market continues to be, at least on the daily chart, bearish. Okay, moving down to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here for a moment. Okay, so you can see here that maybe we are developing a little bit of in the way of maybe a double bottom here. Okay, you can see this maybe being a bottom, this is another bottom. Okay, so a little bit of a W pattern here. Okay, which could be the recipe for maybe continuation move here to the upside in this market. Okay, now we've reached some levels above. Okay, we've talked about this already. We have 66 to the upside as the top end of the range, 64 to the bottom of the range, and that's been the range that crude has been in for some time. Now we have made an attempt to get back to the highs here. We got to as high as pretty close to 66.45, and again we have some kind of selling kind of coming into this market. Okay, so we'll have to see. Need a little bit more detail here. Let's go ahead and now drop in to the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart. Again, you can see the attempt to break above. Okay, create some structure here that would lead us to believe that maybe there is some higher prices in store for crude oil. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mark some of these levels. Okay, that level, if we are going to remain bullish, with expectation is that this level should be supportive here again. That 66 level comes back to us, right? So we just broke above 66. Now the question is, can we hold above 66? And maybe that would lead to some sort of bounce in price off of the 66 level. Okay, something along these kind of lines, right? Come down to the 66 level and reverse away from that 66 level. Something along those lines. Okay, so let's go ahead now and open up our fixed range volume profile, get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's value here. So we're going to go ahead and open up Okay, start here to the close. One more right there. Okay, so you can see, okay, there is a fair number of longs in the overnight. Okay, you can see that price opened above value. Okay, so indicating there is some bullish price action that is currently underway in the markets. Okay, again, I would say that the 66 level remains kind of a pivotal area for this market. If we are going to maintain bullish, the expectation is that we're going to need to hold above this 66 level. Okay. Let's go ahead and open up initial balance. We'll take a look at the initial balance range. Okay. Relatively tight initial balance range, but we know that we have some news in the horizon. We have inventories coming in a little over an hour that could potentially move the markets. Okay. So I would say that this 66 level would be, I guess, an interesting area, a relatively important area. I'm going to go ahead and open up settlement price here. We have settlement down below here at 65.40. I see another area, value area high that could also be a supportive area here around 65.65. Okay. Those would be kind of the levels that I would be looking at on that settlement level. I'll go ahead and draw in a horizontal line here. Okay. These are kind of some levels that I would be looking if this is indeed a bullish move to the upside, then the 66, the 65, 65, and the 65.45 level are going to be areas that I'm going to be focusing on, maybe for reference levels to support longs. Okay, so these would be the logical levels for that to take place. If I remain bearish, well, I would say that coming back to the highs of day here, 66.36 or slightly below 66.21 could offer me some relatively nice price reference levels to support a continuation move to the downside. Okay. But we are seeing, again, I'm a little bit guarded on the bearish side just because the daily is starting to show some signs of some bullish behavior. Looks like we are getting some daily participants that may be coming into the market, but we still need price evidence to continue to provide us evidence that that is indeed in the cards today. Okay. All right. With that, let's go ahead and move on to the equity markets. We'll go ahead and start with the NASDAQ. Okay. We'll start off with the daily chart here. And you can see that the daily chart, let's see, we'll remove some of our drawings here. Okay. So you can see that we remain in this bullish structure. Okay. Nothing that none of the selling, okay, that we've had so far has been really out of the ordinary, right? So we've had slight pullbacks in this market of late. Okay. And this one is really no different. Okay. We do see, outside of maybe some of these prior candles, we do see that this candle is not quite the engulfing candle, but it is a little bit of a, I would say, stronger in magnitude. Okay. So daily chart, okay, does appear to be bullish, although we're starting to see some action here on the daily that maybe could indicate that maybe there is maybe a turn in this market. Okay. Moving down to the 4-hour chart, you can see we'll turn off initial balance here across the board. Okay, and initial balance here, you can see that maybe we might be developing a little bit of a supply zone, a area of resistance in this market here. Now that I'm seeing this a little bit more closely, okay, I see that on the 4-hour chart, there seems to be some area of resistance here around 22,800. Okay, and we started to maybe create lower lows and lower highs here. Okay. So we had a lower low, lower high, and now we're coming down to some of these level below us. Below us, it seems that the 22,600 level does appear to be a supportive area. Okay, so we'll go ahead and mark that area for now. We had one retest reaction, a second retest, not quite the same reaction. So that could provide maybe the momentum for maybe a continuation move here, at least down to based on this chart, maybe down to at least 22,500, maybe down to 22,450. assuming that we cannot hold above this 22,600 level. Okay, moving down to the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart again, you can see that there's a fair amount of sellers in this market at the moment. It looks like London is short on the Nasdaq here. Okay, London is relatively short in this market. I would say maybe even into the overnight trading. There's been a fair amount of bearish price action in this market. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile, get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's pricing here, and we'll go ahead and drag that across here. Okay, so there we have it. There's our initial balance range, not initial balance range, but our volume profile from yesterday. And you can see that we managed to get below value. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that we have a fair amount of bears, okay, who are willing to pay a premium, okay, to be short this market. Okay, so as long as price remains below value, I would say that, we have more downside opportunity. Okay, if we manage to close back inside value, then there's the expectation that we could remain in some sort of maybe return back to at least the settlement price, come in back to the underside of this support area. And then from this, let's say 22,695 level, that we could return with our kind of bearish move in this market. If we make it above, let's say, this value area low and make it above the settlement price, then we open the door for maybe a return back to some of these highs that have been created at the start of London here. Okay, but if I open up my VWAP, you can see that we're lower. If I open up my VWAP for the London session, that is also, I believe, will indicate that we are lower. Okay, so everything right now about the market on the short term is indicating that maybe we are making a change in character of this market, from maybe a market that's been rather bullish to a market that is starting to look a little bit more in the way of bearish. Okay, so we'll have to see how price continues to behave here around this 22,600 level. If this does indeed hold and provide us maybe an impulse move here back to the upside and back inside value, I think that would serve the bulls well. Obviously, we have the our VWAPs that'll serve as kind of an indication as well. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at in the Nasdaq. I would say that I'm kind of leaning a bit bearish on this market. I don't have the initial balance because the initial balance is 10 minutes away from beginning. Okay, and 7:30 will be, or actually 10:30 Eastern will be the earliest that the initial balance range gets established here. So that will be another data point that I can use. So right now, I would say that I'm kind of thinking a little bit on the bearish side of this market, just because price is below both our VWAPs. But if we do manage to close back inside value, okay, then I say then and above, say, settlement price, then that could easily turn into maybe a bullish day. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the ES. Okay, we'll open up the daily chart and get a sense for what the market is trying to accomplish here. And again, you can see that we're starting to get a fair amount of wicks here up at the upper end of the market. Okay, so you see that our advance to the upside. Okay, we were on a steady climb here on the daily chart, and now the market seems to be in some sort of range. We have not made any new highs in this market. Okay, and on the contrary, we're starting to develop maybe some candles that would indicate maybe that either will remain in range or maybe potentially retrace here a bit. Okay, moving on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, looking at the 4-hour chart, again, you can see that on the 4-hour chart, our momentum to the upside has begun to slow. Okay, so we're starting to see more in the way of overlapping candles, and they're beginning to gain strength. Okay, so we had this move, then we had a lesser move, and then a lesser move, and then we picked up with the momentum. We have a 4-hour candle here that is probably higher in magnitude and strength than any of the bearish candles that we've seen so far on this market. Okay, so again, we're that kind of rounding top, that maybe loss of momentum that we're seeing maybe in the ES here at the moment may indicate that maybe we will see maybe a little bit of a retracement in this market. Okay, moving on to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart here. Okay, so looking at the 30-minute chart, similar to what we were seeing in the NASDAQ, we're starting to see a little bit of structure here in the 30-minute chart that indicates that maybe we are beginning to see a little bit of a change in character in this market. We've broken this trend line. Okay, we've broken this trend line here to the upside, downside, I should say, right? So if I draw this trend line, right, we've broken a trend line here to the downside, retested it, and continued to the downside. Okay. Excuse me. So yeah, so we've broken our trend line to the downside, and we've kind of really haven't made any structure here that would indicate that we're maybe kind of returning back. Okay, so 30-minute does appear to be bearish. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile here, get a sense for what that is telling us here. So let's locate the Tuesday, start of Tuesday here. Okay, into the close of Tuesday. Okay, and you can see here, unlike the NASDAQ, looks like we may open up at the tail end of value. Okay, so which, assuming that we can stay above, could be supportive. Okay, so assuming we can stay above that, that could be a supportive area. So I will mark that in as red. So a slightly, I would say, a slightly stronger market. I would say the ES appears, at least for now. If we do manage to hold above this, let's say 62.39 level, okay, which is the low end of value, that could offer us maybe an area where price could potentially bounce away from this area. Like the NASDAQ, we are in somewhat of bearish structure here to the downside. So it'll be interesting to see if we hold this level and can get above both settlement and VWAP. That could lead to maybe a leg back to the upside. Okay. Right now, I would say that we are still in somewhat bearish structure, even though we are in maybe an area here of demand. I would say that it is important for the bulls to maybe potentially hold this level. Otherwise, I don't see any reason why we don't come back down to some of these levels that have been identified here. Okay, so down as low as 62.30. So we're going to go ahead and mark that area in green here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead now and move on to our last instrument, and that's the Dow. Dow was kind of lagging in this participation in the past on this move. So let's take a look and see where it is. Okay, so we see that the Dow actually yesterday was quite a strong move to the upside. We've come into this area of supply resistance. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my fixed range volume profile just to get the point of control of this area here and see where price is in relation to that point of control. Okay, so it's right about here. So we're above that area of point of control. Okay, so that could, provide maybe a location here around, let's say 44,600. That could be a potential supportive area. Okay, since we are above it. Okay, moving down to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, we can see that price, similar to what we were saying on the other equity markets, does appear to be in some sort of range. Okay, does appear to be in some sort of range here to the upside. Okay, sorry, in a range to the downside. We have a developing bearish candle here. Okay, so it will be interesting to see how this current candle closes on the 4-hour. Okay, moving down to the 30-minute chart. Again, looking at this, you can see that price does appear to be slowing here a bit. We're starting to break some structure here to the downside. We've broken below our settlement price. We've broken below our VWAP. And if I open up our anchored VWAP, you can see that we probably have a fair number of bears in this market, including the London session. Okay, so this level down below here, this 44,600 level, I think was identified at least with a higher time frame. I don't see the reason for that location at the moment, but I do see that we have our settlement level here, a prior settlement level here at 44,390. Okay, that should potentially attract price to it. Okay, price is moving below both our VWAPs and our settlement price, indicating that we could see maybe some more downside in this market. If we start to break above VWAPs, then maybe we can provide maybe some evidence that would provide us some evidence that we could continue higher here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile here. I'm going to locate the close here, or start of the US session into the close of the yesterday's session here, right about there. Okay, so you can see that we are inside value. Okay, I said well inside value. Unlike the Nasdaq, Nasdaq was actually below value, flirting with value area low, and we had MES kind of hovering at the low end of value. Okay, the Dow appears to be looking to open well within side value. Okay. So again, we'll have to wait for some maybe additional information as to what direction they plan to take the market, but it does appear to be bearish. Okay, so let's cycle through one last time through all the markets here and just kind of summarize kind of our views of the market. So right now, looking at the gold. Okay, so we are in range. We are maybe showing some indication that we might be in some sort of bullish swing in this market. We've broken some structure here to the upside. So I would say that maybe I'm heading into this market, given the fact that price is above settlement and it's above the VWAP, that maybe we see some additional bullish price action in this market for the remainder of the session. Crude oil. Looking at crude oil, we're going to go ahead and look at our initial balance range here. Again, we can see that price is above our settlement price, is above value. Again, also showing some signs of bullish behavior. So I would say that I'm kind of also looking maybe for some bullish price action in the crude oil, and then we'll let the equity and Nasdaq kind of serve as the spokesperson for the equities. So we are seeing a little bit of reaction away from this level that we had identified, 22,600. If we do manage to get above VWAP, then I would say that my view of this market could maybe turn into short-term bullish. Otherwise, if we remain below VWAP, then I would say that we will remain in sort of the bearish structure that it was created during London. Okay. All right. I think that's pretty much what I have for you for today, guys. Again, please don't hesitate to hit the like and if you're not already a subscriber, make a comment or two to kind of support me in my efforts here and giving you analysis of the markets, giving you some context to participate in the markets. So with that, we'll go ahead and close this session as we close all sessions. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent trading day today, and we'll talk again soon.